Having a friends with benefits, at least in my experience, was really healing.
In my opinion, at some point in time, you are bound to catch feelings for the other person.
I feel like if you know any gay people, they're literally like, who hasn't fucked in this friendship group?
Yeah.
Like, it's quite common.
Wow.
That really took a turn at the end, eh?
Hi, I'm Dee Selman, and I'm trying to befriend the magpies in my garden.
Okay, this is a great idea because you got to start this early before spring so that they know you and they won't swoop you.
That's literally what I'm doing. So I found out recently that apparently generationally magpies remember you. They
definitely.
pass down the knowledge of people that they attack and don't like to their babies. So there's a lot of magpies that we've got this like beautiful gum tree near my house, and there's heaps of magpies that hang out there. And so I have been trying to I don't want to say leave out food, but I've been leaving out little like cat food treats.
Well, do they associate that with you? I think they need to see you in this process.
That's why I brought myself out. Because I'm being like, when I see them waiting for the cat food, I've come out now and been like, hey buddy, it's me. And yes, you can have a little bit of a cat food treat. Just letting you know I'm the one giving it to you.
Yes.
I'm your friend. And I've been trying to win them over.
I love that.
I know.
Paying the swoopy boy tax early. Hi, I'm Pip Rasmussen, and I'm trying to befriend my neighbor next door to my building who is a hairdresser.
Okay.
Because I would like him to take my parcels into his shop when I'm not there to receive them.
That's really smart.
Instead of me
That's
going
really
to the
smart.
post
Also,
office.
free haircut maybe?
I think, respectfully, he's not really my style.
Oh, okay.
He's a bit of an older gentleman.
I hope he doesn't listen to the hookup.
I don't think he would. And if he does, respectfully, I just don't think we're a match. The kind of people that go into this shop, it's a different generation to us.
Okay.
And I've seen some pretty 80s hairstyles come out of there.
I hear what you're saying.
And also, it's kind of strange because he's there all the time, which is why I thought he'd be great at receiving the parcels.
Yeah.
But he's he lives at this salon, but doesn't have that many clients come in and out. I don't know what he's running in this business, but I want to be involved.
Well, I think we're both really smart girls.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's important to make smart decisions about the friends that you make
Yes.
and what you do with those friends.
That's fierce.
So strap in, because in this episode, we're going to be talking about friends with benefits.
Yeah, so we wanted to explore this because it's such a fun topic. There are so many different reasons as to why people might get into a friends with benefits relationship, not to be confused with situationship, which we will get into.
Mm-hmm.
But in this ep, we're going to be asking you about why you wanted to do it. Was it a positive outcome or did it completely ruin the friendship?
Yeah, and is it a smart thing to do with a friend? Because what you're about to hear is that there are so many ways it can go wrong. And I think that we need to unpack some of the ways it can go wrong, but also talk about some of the rules that you need to put in place to make sure that it goes right.
Yes, because we do have a lot of people who said it did go right for them. So let's get into it.
So I think before we get into this, we need to define what a friends with benefits relationship is, because a lot of people in our DMs were a bit confused. So I would define a friends with benefits relationship an arrangement between friends where you're having casual, no strings attached sex.
Yes.
That's how I would define it. And there's a level of friendship and communication and respect that you might not get in another casual experience with someone.
Yeah.
I feel like a situationship as well is where you're doing everything but without the label.
Yeah.
And from my experience when I've been in situationships, there's not really been a friendship there. It's kind of coming from this place of holding me at arm's length.
Yeah.
Whereas I would say friends with benefit is, which we're going to get into, is where you've had hopefully a conversation with someone, you're both friends and you've established what the rules are for having casual sex together.
Exactly. So we asked you on our Instagram at Triple J the Hookup, have you had a friends with benefits relationship? 74% of people said yes. 26% said no.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot. Do you go into that 74%?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, tell us about it.
So I had a friends with benefits when I actually had a friend recommend their friend as someone that I should hook up with.
Mm-hmm.
And we hooked up at a festival, and then we the next day spoke about where we were at. He had just gotten out of a long-term relationship of like 7-8 years. I wasn't looking for a relationship. And so we both agreed, like, this is really nice. Like, let's keep doing this, keep it casual and be friends. And then over the months, we became really good friends that had sex. And it was definitely an experience that I hadn't ever really had before. Like I said, I feel like a lot of the times I was having casual sex in the past, it had to do with more of like a situationship type thing where maybe like I wanted more and they were like non-committal or something like that.
A will they, won't they kind of thing. Whereas this was very clear.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I had a similar thing where it was like first started off as like dating, and for a minute there, I was like kind of catching feelings, but they had made it quite clear that they did not want a relationship. And then I had to kind of restock, recalibrate. And then I was like, oh no, okay, I can get down with this and I can be your friend. And then we would just end up doing really fun friend things. Like we would go to gigs, like we would hang out and like get coffee or go to the pool or go to the park and stuff like that. And then kind of just like hook up after that. And I never thought I was capable of a friends with benefits thing because
You're a relationship girly.
I am. Like I'm totally like booed up all the time. But like it was really, really fun. And I still like find that like the easiest way to do a friends with benefits. Like I'm still baffled at people who have friends first, like genuinely friendship, and then they go, should we fuck? Like I'm like, how do you even get to that? Like that's crazy to me.
I know, and I feel like there's so much risk in that as well.
Totally.
Which we're going to get into. But we wanted to know, why did 74% of you want to be in a friends with benefits relationship? And this is really interesting. I'm going to hear from you first. Why did you want to do it?
I think I wanted to do it because I just really valued the person. Yeah. And I was like, I really like this relationship. And I had come to terms with the fact that I was like, this isn't going to be a relationship. I'm now okay with it. They're okay with it. And it was just like, I just didn't want to let them go. And of course, yes, the sex was obviously really, really nice.
I know.
And
I was about to say, surely that's a huge part.
I think like one of the big parts of that sex that felt different as well as friends with benefits is that you kind of lose your inhibitions a little bit. It was very experimental at times. Like I got to like know parts of myself and parts of this other person that I was like, whoa, I've never done this with someone so casually, and that was really fun.
Yeah, because there's a level of trust that I think you form with them, which, you know, comes with friendship that might not come with people that you don't really know that well.
Exactly.
Beck sent us a DM saying, I'm friends with benefits with an ex. We both want to be single but want to have fun and explore interests with trust. This was huge in the DMs.
Yeah,
I was actually surprised. So many people didn't work out with someone and then both decided, hey, let's just keep sleeping together and, you know, keep having great sex, but like keep a level of friendship.
The emotional maturity for that. I'm actually very impressed with all of you.
I know.
Well done. Scott here said, I didn't have time to fully commit to a partner and they were in the same boat, student life problems. Yeah, another thing is like, yeah, people just going, yeah, I don't have energy or time to do it. So we'll just hook up on the side and it's chill.
Madison said, I did it as a way to deal with heartbreak, but I didn't really enjoy it.
What do you think of that?
I think each to their own. I can understand that. Like I get wanting to maybe move on really quickly, or like, you know, the whole saying of like to get over someone, get under someone else. But yeah, maybe it's interesting to hear that didn't really work out.
M said, I was traveling a lot. So seeing my friend who was in an open relationship and it was a good option. Yep. Again, a lot of people doing long distance and traveling. And Andy saying, I'm currently in a friends with benefits, but it's mainly because we live in different cities. When we're in the same city, we have the best sex ever. And we occasionally FaceTime during the week as friends and it's great. But I think if we both find partners, I'm curious as to whether we'll still be friends with benefits.
I totally reckon watch this space with Andy. I'm like, that's like if you weren't in the same city, I wonder what would happen. Sounds like things are going really well.
Sounds like a rom-com in the making.
Yeah.
Actually.
Oh, we haven't even acknowledged the movie Friends with Benefits.
Oh, yeah, we totally should have.
Like,
obviously, Mila Kunis, Justin Timberlake. I loved that film.
I know. I'm
up.
like, it's a bit old now, but I feel like it really put Friends with Benefits into the zeitgeist and normalized it, probably in a way that it hadn't been before.
I think so too. I'd never heard of it before then. Granted, I was probably like 12 though.
But like they end up dating. So
not before a lot of
yeah.
distraught and heartbreak and anger.
Which I think we need to talk about. So
yeah.
we asked you on our Instagram at Triple J the Hookup, if you have been in a friends with benefits relationship, what was the outcome? So 13% of you said you started dating. 48% of you said it fizzled out naturally. 30% of you said it got messy and ruined the friendship. And 9% of you said still going strong as friends with benefits.
I like this spread. I think there's some things here we can pull out and be like, obviously the messy and ruin the friendship, 30%, huge number about when it has not worked. But the rest of them are kind of like neutral or positive leaning. Like I think when you start dating, it's like technically you failed as friends with benefits.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a nice outcome, I guess, because you both caught feelings and that's good. And it went well for both of you. Like you're clearly both on the same page.
Right. That's kind of like where the movie, I think, is interesting because I think it encourages people to think of like a friends with benefits relationship being successful if you end up in a relationship at the end of that.
Like the gateway.
Yeah. But then like find a rom-com that ends with them just being
single or friends?
Just like friends, you know, like of course they need to end in a relationship to live happily ever after.
I feel like, you know, when you made me watch How to Be Single after my big breakup, that's like the only film that's ever sort of celebrated somebody just going, it's okay, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Like I swear I can't even name another
That's
thing.
why I love it. That's why I love it. Every time someone's going through a breakup, I'm like shoving How to Be Single down their throat.
Well, look, let's talk about like when it's worked. It's interesting. There's a lot of positives that can come from friends with benefits when it does work. Kim said, there's common ground and mutual understanding and it can become quite a safe space. And to back that up, Will said, we had the best sex I've ever had. We had a lot of respect for each other and it takes away some of the inhibitions, which is why I think the sex was so great. Again, kind of what I was saying. Like you feel a sense of comfort with that person, that you feel protected by them and they're not necessarily just going to like kick you to the curb because they were your friend. So yeah, I totally understand this.
I would even add for anyone who has had some pretty shit experiences in the dating world, having a friends with benefits, at least in my experience, was really healing because it taught me that you can have like really honest, safe sex with someone who respects you and values you and can communicate well, which I hadn't really had when I was like just casually hooking up with people, you know, and had some shitty experiences. And then this was like, oh my God, this is so nice. It was like re-teaching myself how to do casual sex really well.
I love that. That's actually really beautiful. I think it makes complete sense as well because when you compare it with casual dating, it's like, again, the disposability of everybody. If that's a word, by the way, I'm not sure. But
we'll make it one now.
We'll make it one now. But everyone in dating is so disposable and you're always just thinking about like potentially the next person. So you might not treat somebody with the same level of care and respect as a friend would. And it's so nice that you had that experience.
Yeah. So 13% of you said that you started dating, which I actually think is quite low from...
I thought it was going to be a little more.
Yeah. Because sometimes I think like, which we're going to unpack, the feelings getting caught, you know, things just being like, this works really well. Why are we not dating kind of energy? Jace said, my most common type of dating was friends first, then hooking up and dating. I'm still mates with a lot of them.
Lil said, I started out as friends with benefits. We both caught feelings and now we're dating 6 months in and still going strong.
Tyler saying, started out as friends with benefits. He caught feels, I caught feels, and 6 years later we're engaged.
Oh,
love that.
Love that. It's interesting with Tyler's experience there because I do think that queer people totally do friends with benefits more, if not better than heterosexual relationships because it's actually just such a normalized part of their community. I feel like if you know any gay people, they're literally like, who hasn't fucked in this friendship group? Like it's quite common.
Yeah, we had so many DMs about this as well. And it was kind of that thing of like, yes, I used to hook up with my friend here, but now I'm hooking up with this friend, but we're all still friends. And then now I've actually got this partner and we're all friends and that's that person's ex, but we're all like going to each other's weddings. And you know what I mean?
I would say like majority of the time, it's never been like a source of tension as well in those groups. Like obviously they're like case by case. There would be people who like it messed things up or it was like kind of weird and then there's like jealousy with like future or past partners. But in like anecdotally, I think for me, like most people, like you said, are literally like, oh no, I'm just going to like their wedding and yeah, we hooked up once and it's like not a big deal.
And we're all just like, it all fizzled out naturally and we're all just friends, which was
Yeah.
48% of you.
Yeah.
And this was something that Annie sent us a voice memo about as well.
After our breakup, my ex and I decided to remain friends, and we also maintained our sexual relationship whilst dating other people. And maybe a year after, she met her current partner. And once things started to be a little bit more serious with her new partner, we just stopped having sex with each other and just transitioned into just a normal friendship, pretty much like a platonic friendship. It was a little bit awkward at the time, you know, as we were all trying to figure each other out. I met her new partner, who is currently one of my best friends. We're all still hang out regularly, and we're aunties to each other's cats.
Stop.
That's my dream.
That's like the ideal like friendship trio. It's
I
like
know, and I love that the fizzle out
Yeah.
became their partner, became their
best friend. Yeah. I would say it's interesting, yeah, because like, yeah, the 48% of it being naturally fizzling out. Usually I think, and what we heard in the DMs, it was like when somebody gets a new partner, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Pat told us about. He seems to be like the final boss of Friends with Benefits.
Friends with Benefits was probably my most common form of dating. I'd say as many as 12 friends with benefits over those years and stayed friends with most of them after, to the point where one girl who I hooked up with on and off for a couple of years and stayed good friends with, I was the MC at her wedding, and another girl who I'd known for a lot of years and hooked up with on and off over probably an 18-month period. I've become friends with her and her new partner so much to the point now that I was a groomsman at his wedding.
So like going to all the weddings with the partners who've got new partners.
I'm obsessed with that.
Crazy.
And I think if we're exploring the question, does a friends with benefit relationship actually work? This to me would be my example of working.
Yeah.
I think like the successfulness comes from being able to maintain a friends with benefits relationship, for it to fizzle out, no animosity, still all be friends. Like success.
Absolutely. So yeah, those I think were good examples of like where the new partner comes in and then it kind of fizzles out. But it can happen the other way around, right? Where people realize that they actually value the friendship maybe more than the sex, or like maybe the sex part just kind of fizzles out naturally and you're like, okay, let's just be friends. So this is what happened with Della. So she met a guy on a dating app and they were hooking up, and then over a year and a half or so, they sort of just like faded into this like friendship thing. And this is what she told us about.
The best way I can describe it is just like we formed a friendship. The physical stuff was kind of just like a fun perk, I guess. Like, I don't know, another way to connect without not being romantic. It definitely had its challenges. I think he is someone who wanted to really talk about all of his experiences and all of his connections, whereas I'm someone who's like, you do you, but I don't need to hear about it if we're having multiple partners. But yeah, it's awesome. We moved in together a few months after like the physical stuff fizzled out. I was always like the person that thought you had to have a romantic connection to sleep with someone. But yeah, I guess it just depends on where you're at in life and open communication and all the rest of it. And yeah, he's my best friend.
Best friends.
Yeah.
So
I think
cool.
she even said they live together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they moved in.
Crazy. I just had like a full aha moment. I think a lot of people in Friends with Benefits, of people who have done that dynamic, wouldn't even realize that they're doing a form of ethical non-monogamy if you're seeing other people. Because
That's true, actually.
a lot of the DMs that we got from you were you kind of saying like, yeah, we just like don't tell each other that we're hooking up, or like on the apps and seeing other people, like we've just agreed with this dynamic between us, we've communicated that. And I'm like, a lot of that is just like very basic ethical non-monogamy.
Oh my God.
I know.
Well done. You really connected the dots
Wow.
on those. I didn't even consider that.
So if anyone had some weird feelings around non-monogamy,
Yeah.
you could be in it.
You're actually doing
You're
it.
actually doing it.
Sorry. So the last part of this poll, 9% of you said that you are still going strong as Friends with Benefits. And this is what Crystal had to say.
So I've had my Friends with Benefits for about a year and a half now. Started on Hinge. We matched, both looking for the same thing, and been going strong ever since. There's no jealousy,
Nothing like that. We catch up probably once a fortnight or so, depending on our schedules. And most of that's just us hanging out in bed chatting. But it seems to work.
I love that. We haven't even acknowledged that this is something that you can put on most dating apps as a preference of what you're looking for as well.
Oh, yeah. Like
but
field especially.
Yeah, if you are wondering how all of these dynamics went so well, we are going to get into your tips and your rules and your recommendations and boundaries very, very soon.
But first, we can also learn from the people from
Their mistakes.
their mistakes. Exactly. From the people who said, it didn't quite work out.
Which was 30% of you.
Yeah.
30% of you said it got messy and it ruined the friendship.
Now, look, we got this voice memo from Lily who said she reckons basically honesty is like the best policy. And she reckons that if you're not good at communication, like this just isn't going to work for you. And this is what she had to say.
My experience, Friends with Benefits hasn't ended well because there hasn't been honesty on one or the other's side of it. So, for example, if you go into it with no expectations and it's just friends with benefits and one person then says, oh, I'd like this to be a relationship, and the other person agrees, then down the line, if that person then says back, oh, I actually never wanted this in the first place, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, that person should have been honest from the beginning that they didn't want it to turn into a relationship. So often what happens is it ends badly because there hasn't been honesty from start to finish.
I think in my circumstance, if the other person with my friends with benefits wasn't so like very clear and stood firm in their decision and wasn't going to like waver or anything, that could have been me totally, because I was definitely starting to catch feelings. Like I remember talking to you about it and being like, I'm confused. Like I miss this person, but I don't think I'm meant to, because I think this is meant to be very casual.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, you know, like what Lily was saying, it's like if you're not like strong and firm in your decision, or like you might come out at the other end and be like, actually, wait, what the fuck? I didn't want this. So you have to be very good at talking about that.
Yeah. And another thing that she mentioned was that you are probably inevitable someone's going to catch feelings. Like,
Yeah.
which I think was a really common experience in the DMs. It's like they caught feelings, you caught feelings, you, like she said, you lied about your feelings, you denied your feelings, you probably lied to yourself about your feelings. It gets complicated.
I would say this is the number one reason why it didn't work for people.
Yeah. And this was something that happened with Tim.
As time went by, things started to get a bit more emotional. We started seeing each other a bit more than once a week, and we used to share stuff that we wouldn't say to anyone else, and we used to support each other during our highs and lows. And this went on for like a year and a half, where we're in this weird mix. We're not friends, we're not in a relationship, and it's not just physical either. That's when I popped the question to her to see if she wanted to take things to the next level. And she obviously said no at the time. And I wanted different things. So we had to break it off. And it was one of the most painful things at the time. And it took me a really long time to get over her. So in my opinion, at some point in time, you are bound to catch feelings for the other person.
I think Tim kind of highlighted like that real double-edged sword with the safe space and the honesty and the trust that you have with a friend. Because at the top we heard from people being like, it's so beautiful. It is such a safe space to explore and connect and feel like kind of like loved by someone in a safe way. But then in this like scenario, he was sort of saying, we shared so much. It was such an emotional support to me. And then it kind of like veered off that path. So I think you have to like really like strike a balance and walk this very tightrope of like, how do you make sure that you don't fall in love with this person?
Completely. If you have someone who's like holding your hand when you're crying, listening to you when you're like offloading stuff that you're going through, looking you in the eyes and then having sex with you, I'm sorry. How are you not falling for them?
Like literally we're only human here. Like I'm just a girl.
Yeah.
Like if someone does that to me, I'm like, oh my God. Like
Instantly
I'm going to fall for you.
So
it is really hard.
I think that's an important part around the rules, which we'll talk about soon. But yeah, Sarah sent us a voice memo because she was like, absolutely, I don't believe that it works because people will always get feelings.
I think friends with benefits is a great idea in theory, but not everyone can keep those boundaries. It becomes difficult when you cross that level of intimacy to go back, and depending on like the level of friendship you keep up and how often you see each other, feelings form quickly. And I find in my experience a lot of people just couldn't keep that level of friendship once you had gone so far. It's difficult to sort of draw the line, and with a friend there's natural kind of lapses in communication, but then when intimacy is involved and a bit of flirting and texting, it kind of like blurs that line between what is funny, what is relaxed, what is friendly, and what are we doing here, because you start to feel connected to that person. And I think ultimately not everyone can just switch those feelings off. It's like a biological thing.
Interesting that she mentions like the biological thing. You know, I think a couple of years ago, I don't think I was on the show at this point. So you were speaking to Helen Fisher, who is a renowned anthropologist. And didn't she say something like, she was like, I don't believe in casual sex?
Yeah.
Like there's no such thing.
It was basically like casual sex is never really casual if you do it for enough times, because like the way that your brain is wired is to form some sort of like connection to that person. So that was kind of her warning, which has always really stuck with me. And I do think there is truth to that and what Sarah is saying, because my friends with benefits ended because I got into a relationship with someone else. But I have always thought, I wonder what would have happened if I didn't. My like gut feeling is that it probably would have turned into a relationship at some point eventually.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because your brain associates such a nice feeling with this person of like safety, comfort, good sex.
And there's a part of me that thinks like I think it's more niche for it to just be like, yeah, this works and fizzles out. But I think if you do it long enough, at some point, surely people go like, hey, this works. Why aren't we fucking taking it, that step further?
Yeah.
Like, we love each other as friends. We have great sex. Our friends all love each other. Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I just had an aha moment as well, but I think I want to keep it for later for when we talk about the rules.
Okay.
I'm just kind of gathering all these experiences and being like, oh, I think I have an idea here.
Yeah.
I'll flesh it out with you soon.
Love
though.
that. I will say as well, another experience in our DMs was when people kind of who was it saying before that you lie to yourself, Lily maybe, where people were just settling for friends with benefits even though they wanted more. So this was something that Tilly sent us a voice memo about. She had really strong feelings for this guy, but because she didn't want to lose him, she basically had to settle for friends with benefits, and this is something she now regrets.
Looking back on it now, I wish that I could have had the confidence and strength to have said no, because I definitely had feelings that he didn't have, and I just put those feelings aside because I really liked him and he would just come back to me every now and then. So I look back on it now and I just wish that I had the strength back then to have said no.
I kind of feel like what I was saying before, you have to be strong fast in your opinions. You have to really be unwavering about what you want and communicate that. Like, yeah, I just completely understand how she feels, and I think a lot of people would feel the same way and have a similar experience.
It's messy stuff, right? It's messy because all relationships and anything involving like sex and, dating and whatever can get really messy. But I just think there's a lot happening that you really do have to be on the front foot about to make sure that everyone's on the same page.
And also,
honest with your own feelings with yourself, maybe even.
Yeah. Speaking of that, though, they being like on the front foot and being like, let's figure out all the outcomes that could happen. We did get a DM from someone who I think I'm classing as maybe like the worst case scenario of this. Jay said, it was really good until I fell pregnant, had to terminate the pregnancy, and then our friendship died. I'm like, this is the consequence, right, of having sex with somebody. Like, stuff like this can happen.
And it can be really devastating.
Yeah.
What was interesting was that no one said that they lost the group dynamic. Like no one said that the friends with benefit not working changed the dynamic of the friendship group and you lost multiple friends in the process.
Yeah, I think when we were coming into this episode, we thought we would hear more about that. But my theory now is that more people are like us in that they started dating and then turned into friends after, rather than...
Or it wasn't like...
Pat, who had 12 people that he started as friends and then went to dating. Like, that's what I think, maybe.
And maybe there's less repercussions in a friendship group when you are doing friends with benefits because the friendship is still friends. You know what I mean? Like the dynamic hasn't changed too much.
If we're going to class it as like you successfully did it, you were able to maintain the friendship and nothing changed in the group. Or maybe you were just like hiding it from your friends because you were like, I don't want anyone to know that we're like hooking up.
And that's hot.
But it always comes out.
And that is hot.
It is hot.
That is hot.
It is hot. But it always comes out. So I'm like, I don't know. I was kind of like you. I was like expecting to hear more from that. But anyway, we did get this voice memo from Hugo who I thought put out a really good point about the strain that having a friends with benefits can have on future partners. So this is like what happened to him and a mate who he was hooking up with. Both of their partners, like future partners, were like really not cool with that friendship at that point.
You got to accept the fact that like their future partner or your future partner is not going to like the friend that you have your friends with benefit with. So I've had a friend in that I used to do friends with benefits about 5 or 6 years ago, and we remained friends long after that, and we stopped hooking up, and we used to go out for dinner and catch up all the time, and then when she got her new boyfriend, it took her a long time to convince a new boyfriend that we're just friends and that we don't get to hang out as such. But it did take him a while to warm up to me, and I've met him and I've had dinner with him, and we've got each other on social media. But like your friend status sort of like bumps down from being like a close friend to you're not invited to their wedding.
Oh, dramatic. Wow. That really took a turn at the end, eh?
I can kind of relate to that, I think.
Yeah.
My friendship with said person has really fizzled out.
Yeah, which is sad.
And not on my behalf.
No. It's Yeah, so interesting to hear about this from Hugo's point of view. It's like even if you have managed to like do this friends with benefit and you've managed the friend and you're like, cool, we're sweet. And then like the partners come in and then you're just like, fuck. And then whether or not that causes a strain between you and the partners or them and the ex-friend or whatever it is, it can get a little bit tricky.
Yeah, you can't ever predict how other people will feel about your dynamic, which is, probably a whole other podcast in itself. True. We actually should do one about like being friends with an ex.
Friends with an ex, yeah.
Like after, like with a new partner, if that's allowed.
Friends with an ex would be great. There's so much, not even just that, but like, do you even have to be?
Yeah.
Is it a good idea?
Okay.
Wait.
All right. Start thinking about it. Start
Third
prepping,
light bulb.
Start prepping your voice memos.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's get into the rules because like Pip and I have been saying, it can get really messy. There's obviously fine lines and boundaries that you need to put in place. So let's hear what you have found worked for you. So this was really interesting, Pip. This is kind of what you've been saying throughout this episode. But Jimmy reckons it can only work if you're not actually friends first.
Oh.
As listeners of the pod would know by now, sex isn't just about the orgasm and the physical act of feeling good. It fulfills some sort of emotional need further, because if it was just about the orgasm, we'd all be doing it at home by ourselves because we know how to do it best. True. But it can be really, really difficult to be friends with someone and introduce that emotional side and that sexual side, because it can be hard to see them as anything else after that. And it can be hard to go from being friends and introducing that and going back to being friends because you know what you've shared with one another. And so I think in that way, being friends with benefits can be really hard. But some people do. If they don't know the person, they hook up and they become friends afterwards. And I think that's probably the only way that any sort of sex and friendship can mix. And I think most friends with benefits relationships can lead to terrible outcomes because one gets hurt, one catches feelings, etc. So that's my 2 bits.
Hard agree with Jimmy on this.
Loved that.
I really, really do. I think the best way to do it is not friends first. And I'm going to piggyback off this even more because he was talking a lot about like the intimacy and how you kind of can't revert back once you've seen someone in such a vulnerable and beautiful, loving kind of situation. I think, and this is my aha moment that I was going to save, it has to be a friend on like almost a periphery, like a friend.
Tier 3, not tier 1 or 2.
Yeah, not tier 1 or tier 2 is like danger zone maybe. But there were some people who DM'd us and they were like, oh, like best friends. And we hooked up and then we remained friends. I'm like, how? Like that's just a level of intimacy that I'm like, I just think like I couldn't even
Yeah.
move out of and come back from.
And like as an overthinker, I think that's like riddled with overthinking.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I would overthink the fuck out of that.
Yeah. And like, yeah, with what I do with my best friends, which is like they are like my ride or dies, they're my supports. Like I come to them with like deep dark secrets and problems and cry on their shoulder. So then if we were to mix sex into that, I was like, oh, there's no way I could just maintain this as a friend. So therefore I think, as Jimmy said, I think it's really good if you're not friends first, but if you have to be, they really need to be like tier 3 on the edge.
Yep, love that. We also had a rule from Kelsey, which I think is really interesting.
In my recent experience, I think if you're going to do it, it has to be with someone who pisses you off just enough to where you couldn't actually ever see yourself dating them.
Exactly.
It's kind of like
that's what I was saying.
You need
the separation.
to know on some level, like I definitely can't see a relationship with this person.
Yeah, like they've got some kind of ick that you just can't move past.
You're like, and I have like guy friends that I would be like that doing friends with benefits with, I reckon.
Maybe even like a different like value, like a life value.
Yeah, it's more just like I don't see us as partners. I don't see you doing like a long-term relationship. I was going to say doing life together, but I was like, that's so cringe. But you know what I mean? I can't see us in a way that's like, I want to build a life with this person, blah, blah, blah. Like it's just like, yeah, values don't align, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or you would just piss me off. Like spending every day with you, living with you would piss me off. But I like you as a friend.
Yeah. I think actually, the pissing me off thing is probably more important than the value things because sometimes people like flip-flop on their values anyway. So for example, I'm just trying to think of one. I was like, okay, what if I was hooking up with a friend who I knew really wanted a family and I'm on the fence about it. And I'm like, it's never going to work because they 100% want kids. But then if you like don't have the emotional intelligence and to separate that and then you like kind of fall for them and you're like, well, maybe I can make it work because da 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 da.
Yeah.
But as Kelsey said, if it's something that like pisses you off, like I don't know, like they don't brush their teeth in the morning or like something that's like yuck, no. Like something like that.
There
Maybe
needs
that's
to be
the
a
key.
low level ick, I think.
A low level
That's
ick.
okay. These rules
Are fabulous.
But yes, that. But also these rules.
Sorry.
No, these rules are like assuming you don't want a relationship with someone. Because I think some people might be listening or watching and being like, "But what if I want a friends with benefits that maybe can turn into something one day?" It's like, no. We're talking about friends with benefits that are successful because you stay friends either after or you just have maintained that level.
Stay in that little box.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane.
We also got this voice memo from Rosie with her rules.
So my rules and boundaries are there is no kissing after sex. There is no cuddling after sex. We are not to lead each other on. Right after sex, we're supposed to go into another room immediately and just go do something that's normal for us as friends, like go watch a movie or go for a walk or go, I don't know, do whatever we do as friends usually. There will be no sleepovers. And I find that anybody who tries to cross these boundaries or doesn't agree with them straight up is usually trying to get me into a situationship or they're trying to ease me into a relationship. And it will always, forever turn sour. I think the most important thing for a friends with benefit situation to work out is that you're actually friends and you want the friendship to continue as a friendship and not a relationship, and they feel the same way.
Oh, wow.
I love this. I love someone who knows their boundaries, communicates them, and is like, I'm not going to settle for anyone who doesn't work with what I'm looking for.
Like literally leaving the room is crazy. I'm such a cuddler.
I know. I could see your face. You were like,
I was like,
I could never.
I was literally
but
like,
I like this.
No,
I
it's
think
good.
This is great.
She's right.
Yeah.
No, she's right. Because I hate to bring it back to a heated rivalry. And I know they weren't friends with benefits, okay?
They were enemies with benefits.
They were enemies to lovers trope, my favorite. But when like you go on into the series and every time they would hook up, there was just a little bit more cuddling, a little bit
spoiler
more.
alert.
Well, look, I think by now you would have seen it. But
okay.
You know what I mean? Like you notice they start to stay in bed a little bit longer. They start to have like little
Boundaries,
stray kisses.
It's because, but this was what happens. I guarantee you with everyone who ended up in relationships from friends with benefits, like that is genuinely what would have happened. It's like slowly boundaries would have been crossed.
Yes.
They might not have even been boundaries. What's the word? Not boundaries, but like intimacy maybe would have been crossed. Like as in like deepened.
Totally.
Like things got a bit more serious.
That's what I'm saying, by the way.
Yeah.
Your turn, by the way.
My turn.
Sorry.
No, no. But you're talking about enemies to lovers.
No, I'm just saying I'm using that as an example to be like, you could tell that those were starting to drift away, and that's why they were sort of going into the, oh, fuck, we actually really want each other more than just a casual hookup. Okay. Another thing that I think is such a great rule, Shaz here saying the key to success is to make sure you keep dating and seeing other people.
Yeah.
I think this is a
Ooh.
great way to stop catching feelings because you're not focused all on that one person.
That is a great call.
Your eggs are in different baskets. And this is kind of what Ben said as well.
We set good boundaries and had good communication around what would happen if the other person starts dating someone, so the other one would step away and vice versa. And just be open and honest about what we wanted, what was going on relationship-wise outside of us, and just respecting boundaries in terms of I'm not going to stop you from seeing other people. I'm not going to hinder a potential relationship as well. I want you to be happy. I want you to sort of figure out what you want. And yeah, it was overall a good experience. We still talk, we still study together. We're both in happy, committed relationships with different people now. And yeah, it's overall was a good experience.
That's a good friend.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you're helping each other, even in your dating lives. God,
really
so
nice.
many of you are just so emotionally intelligent.
I know. I think staying on the apps and like keeping those comms open and being like, I'm not going to stop you from doing that. Because that's, to me, I'm literally like, that is the key to not catching feelings.
And forward planning, like what are we going to do? Having that conversation about what are we going to do if someone catches feelings, or what are we going to do if someone meets someone, and talk through those scenarios.
Yeah. Thank you so much to everyone who contributed to this episode. This was so good. You're amazing. Make sure you hit us up on our Instagram account. At Triple J The Hookup is where you can DM us and let us know what you want us to cover. If you have any questions, any dating dilemmas. We'll see you in the Oh, we haven't said this yet this year. We'll see you in the DMs.
Oh, wait, have we not?
No, we didn't say it last week.
Why?
I don't know why. I think we just forgot.
Oh, okay.
Out of practice.
All right.
We'll see you in the DMs.
Bye.